let's get real for a minute. Life sucks sometimes. I mean, we're constantly bombarded with stress, responsibilities, expectations, and all sorts of crap that make us feel like we're just one step away from losing our minds. It's like we're all in this giant hamster wheel, running our asses off, but not really getting anywhere. And you know what's the worst part? We forget about ourselves in the process. Yeah, that's right. We put everyone else first, our families, our jobs, our friends, and we end up neglecting the most important person in our lives, us. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Oh great, another self-care lecture," hear me out. I'm not here to give you some fluffy, feel-good bullshit about bubble baths and scented candles. Sure, those things can be nice, but self-care is way more than that. It's about taking care of your damn self so you don't completely lose it. It's about making sure you're not constantly running on empty, because let's face it, nobody can function properly when they're burnt out. Let me break it down for you. We live in a society that glorifies the hustle. We're told that if we're not grinding 24/7, we're lazy, we're not ambitious enough. But you know what? That's a load of crap. Constantly pushing yourself to the limit isn't sustainable, and it's not something to be proud of. You don't get a medal for working yourself into the ground. You just get tired, stressed, and miserable. Self-care is about flipping the bird to that mentality. It's about saying, "Screw this, I'm not going to kill myself for the sake of someone else's idea of success." It's about recognizing that you need to take a step back sometimes and focus on what you need to be okay, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And yeah, sometimes self-care means doing the hard stuff. It means having the self-discipline to get your shit together. It means not eating junk all the time because you know it'll make you feel like crap. It means getting off your ass and working out even when you don't feel like it because you know it'll make you feel better in the long run. It means going to bed at a decent hour instead of staying up all night binge-watching Netflix. I get it, though. Taking care of yourself isn't always fun or easy. Sometimes it's downright boring. But you know what's worse? Not doing it and feeling like garbage every day because you're not taking care of your basic needs. If you don't have the self-discipline to prioritize yourself, you're basically setting yourself up for failure. You're like a car that never gets an oil change. Sooner or later, you're gonna break down. Let me tell you a little secret. The people who talk about how they don't need self-care because they're too busy or too tough are usually the ones who need it the most. They're the ones who are on the brink of a meltdown but are too stubborn to admit it. It's like they're trying to prove something to the world, but in reality, they're just slowly self-destructing. Now, I'm not saying you need to turn your life upside down and become some kind of self-care guru. I'm just saying you need to get your priorities straight. If you keep running yourself into the ground, you're not going to be any good to anyone, not to your family, not to your job, and certainly not to yourself. So why not give yourself a break? And don't even get me started on the people who think self-care is selfish. It's not. Taking care of yourself isn't about being selfish. It's about being smart. If you don't take care of yourself, who the hell is going to do it for you? Nobody. And if you're constantly putting everyone else first, you're going to end up resenting them, even if you don't realize it. You'll start to feel like you're being taken advantage of, and that resentment will eat away at you. Self-care is about setting boundaries. It's about knowing when to say no and not feeling guilty about it. It's about realizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving and giving without taking the time to recharge, you're going to burn out. And when that happens, you're no good to anyone, least of all yourself. Let's talk about the mental aspect for a second. We all have our demons, anxiety, depression, stress, you name it. And if you don't take care of your mental health, those demons are going to kick your ass. Ignoring your mental health is like ignoring a leak in your roof. Sure, you can pretend it's not there, but eventually, it's going to cause some serious damage. And when that happens, it's a hell of a lot harder to fix. Self-care isn't just about doing things that make you feel good in the moment. It's about doing things that keep you from falling apart. It's about recognizing when you need help and not being afraid to ask for it. It's about knowing when to take a break and not feeling guilty for it. It's about giving yourself permission to not be perfect all the damn time. And let's be real, nobody is perfect. We all screw up, we all have bad days, and we all need a break sometimes. But if you don't make self-care a priority, those bad days are going to start outweighing the good ones. You're going to start feeling like you're just going through the motions, like you're stuck in a rut that you can't get out of. And that's no way to live. So, what does self-care look like in real life? It's different for everyone, but it usually involves a combination of things that keep you sane. Maybe it's going for a walk every day to clear your head. Maybe it's taking 10 minutes in the morning to meditate or just sit in silence. Maybe it's making sure you eat 3 meals a day and drink enough water. Or maybe it's something as simple as taking a shower and putting on clean clothes, even if you're not going anywhere. The point is, self-care is about doing what you need to do to keep yourself from losing your shit. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being instead of waiting for someone else to do it for you. It's about realizing that you deserve to be taken care of, and that it's not up to anyone else to make sure you're okay. And yeah, sometimes self-care means being a little selfish. It means putting yourself first, even if it pisses people off. It means not answering that work email at 11 p.m. because you need to get some sleep. It means saying no to that family event because you need some alone time. It means not feeling guilty for taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the only one who's responsible for your own happiness. So, stop telling yourself that you're too busy or that you don't have time for self-care. That's bullshit, and you know it. If you have time to scroll through social media or binge-watch TV shows, you have time to take care of yourself. It's just a matter of priorities. If you don't start taking self-care seriously, you're going to end up in a bad place. You're going to be stressed, tired, and probably a little bitter. You're going to feel like you're just surviving instead of living. And that's not what life is supposed to be about. Life is hard enough as it is. Don't make it harder by neglecting yourself. You owe it to yourself to be the best version of you. And that starts with self-care. In conclusion, self-care isn't just some trendy buzzword. It's a necessity. It's about recognizing that you're human, that you have limits, and that you need to take care of yourself if you want to keep going. So, stop making excuses, stop putting everyone else first, and start taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will.